Imagine you're friends with someone for 15 years and you ask a question and you realize that their answer is nothing that you would have imagined, and you realize you don't really know this person. Well, our guest today has a business that focuses on helping people learn about each other better. Welcome to another episode of Sunshine Sessions, conversations with Central Florida community leaders. And our guest today is Sarah Finn with Closer Together Events. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks so much. This is fun. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
All right, well, I've been in Central Florida since I was 10 years old. I spent a good part of my working life in the food service industry, about a little over 12 years before I got into the beer industry. Now I've been working in breweries for a little over 4 years, and for the past roughly 4 years as well, I've been a trivia host as a side job. So I have gotten a lot of fun times out of that. I've hosted at all different places all around town, and the skills that I kind of gained from being able to host trivia and also helping set up events at other breweries I've worked at has kind of led me into what I'm doing now with my business.
Yeah. Great, which we want to hear about this.
Yeah.
Tell us about Closer Together Events.
Sure. So Closer Together is a one-on-one game night that is designed to help you get to know someone a little bit better and bring you a little bit closer, all while playing games and having fun. Now, the goal with it being one-on-one is that you're bringing someone you already know, someone else in your life. We encourage people to bring someone other than your romantic partner if possible.
Okay.
Couples are more than welcome.
Why is that,
being said, yes, it's because, once we become full adults, often your romantic partner is the person that you're already closest to. That's the person you know the best.
Should be, right?
And once, people get settled into their family lives and their careers, it becomes a lot harder to find the time to invest in your friendships and even sometimes like your extended family relationships. So, we really encourage people to bring like your best friend or your favorite coworker or your sister or your mom and be able to kind of reinvigorate your relationship for a night.
That is neat. And this came out of you just hosting trivia nights.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, that's learning how to do that is what gave me the confidence to be able to host events. I mean, when I first started hosting trivia, I was so nervous all the time, but I kept pushing and being like, this is a good skill to have. You should be comfortable on a microphone. These are good life skills. Right. So I kept doing it. And, between that and, I've always been someone who has been really good at maintaining my friendships throughout my life. Even if I have a romantic partner at the time, I'm really good at consistently reaching out and keeping up with my friends. And I've noticed that other people aren't as good. It's just not a skill for everyone, right? So I kind of just wanted to create a space for people to be able to just invest in their relationships for an evening while having fun, but also it be meaningful as well.
And you do that with folks that are friends. And I understand that you also do that in a more corporate environment as well.
Yeah, so I've done my first team building event now. That was really fun. I kind of made some adjustments because, my events for the public are intended to be one-on-one. But when I did it for corporate team building, I made some adjustments to make it be teams of 3 or 4 that it could accommodate. So that was really fun, and I totally want to get more into that because I got great feedback on that. Everyone came up and told me they had so much fun, and I heard from the GM that they said, we want to do this again, and I was like, that's great.
So I totally understand why, when you're in a friendship, you want to grow closer together, right? But tell us why it's important for that to be important in a corporate setting.
Oh, yeah. I have also a history of working at small businesses. Almost my entire working life has been spent in small business. And I just truly feel that the better you know the people around you, the better work environment you're going to have. Because once you learn about someone, you learn their quirks, you learn their flaws, you can work around that and respect who they are and understand how their brain works a little bit better, and then probably have a better working relationship and a better team dynamic overall.
Right. It's about building those relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't do that when you're working 9 to 5.
No, you're wrapped up in the work.
In so many companies that have now gone virtual. So there's people that are working from their homes and their
Right.
PJs. So they oftentimes don't even interact with one another.
Right. We are more separated than ever. And that's another reason that I really wanted to do this, was to give people that face-to-face time again.
Yeah.
You know, we're so rarely like sitting across the table from someone, having a conversation, truly connecting, not being distracted by our devices. And
Right.
all of my marketing is kind of like nostalgic, and, you know, my font and everything. And it's crazy to say that it is kind of old school to just interact like this without technology in between. And it's important.
That's right. I love that you mentioned that whole old school thing. So does that mean that when you start these events, folks are not able to have their phones on them?
I actually do encourage people, you know, I do like a little 5-minute intro. And in that intro, I let people know, like, hey, you know, I would encourage you for the duration of this event, it's 2 hours long, to pretend your cell phone doesn't exist. You know, like, put it on silent, keep it in your purse or your pocket, and do your best to face-to-face look at this person, connect, hear what they're saying, and just forget that exists. But then I say, I'm not here to babysit you. You know, I'm not.
Right.
And you might have something going on that you need your phone.
Right.
And I'm not going to babysit you, but I encourage people to do that. And for the most part, people respect it because they like it. We so rarely are asked to do that or have the wherewithal to like consciously set that aside. And so, yeah, I do mention that.
Especially in that type of environment, because you mentioned that you're playing games. So could you walk us through what that looks like, and what kind of games you're playing, and what's the agenda on a day like that? Okay, so there's 4 rounds of games for the game night. Each one is 30 minutes.
The first round is just lighthearted, nostalgic childhood games, like keeping it light and breezy and fun. There's all this research about the benefits of play for adults and how, you know, when we're kids, play is second nature. It's just what we do. But as we become older, many of us kind of lose that natural, playful nature about ourselves. But there's all these psychological benefits for like improving memory, improving relationships, like anti-stress, all of these things. So playing a game with someone kind of gets you out of your head, you know, and it's just a lovely, easy way to connect with someone. So round 1, we have things like Battleship, Connect 4, Jenga, categories, Boggle, like any one-on-one, like silly game that's going to make you feel like a kid again for a minute.
Love it.
Yes. And then round 2, we have games that are just as lighthearted, but a little bit more conversational. So we have things like Mad Libs. We have would you rather questions, really silly ones that'll just get you like giggling, and then some other mini games. And I also have these it's like a this or that list, which you've probably seen on like Instagram. So, you know, questions like the beach or the springs, or sweet or savory, or, you know, like whatever,
Italian or Chinese.
Yes, thank you. So the 2 people have the same list and an X-out marker. You fill out the list for yourself, and then you guess each other's answer. So you're like getting to know each other a little bit better, but it's like lighthearted and like nothing too crazy. So then we have 2 more rounds. Round 3 and round 4 are completely conversation based, and we have these boxes. Round 3 is the box of conversation. So you just come up and pick a box. Round 4 is the box of
scary.
It's not. Round 4 is the box of closeness. And so each one just has a whole deck of cards with thought-provoking questions. Round 3, they're going to be a little more easy, nothing too deep. Things like, tell me the top 3 concerts you've ever attended and like what made you love them, or, you know, what are your favorite couple of restaurants in town, or things like that, things that are easy. You know, what are your favorite travel destinations, or your travel places that you'd love to go? You know, again, just getting to know each other. And then round 4 is where we start to get into the deep end a little bit, you know, and so that's where it comes in that it's important you're bringing someone you already know. You know, you're not feeling intimidated with these questions, and they're not all scary. They're beautiful questions, but we are lacking deep conversation, and we should be having these with the people that we care about. So that being said, on the corporate team building, we eliminate round 4. It's a little too deep for coworkers, but we just keep all the fun stuff.
That sounds neat. And how often do you see people go, oh, I never knew that about you?
A lot, actually. When I did my soft launch, I had two of my friends come who are married. They've been married, like, I want to say like 4 years, but together like 11 years. And they came up to me later and were like, I can't believe how much we learned. I thought I knew everything about this person. And they had this whole story about they've both been ordering, like it was ranch or blue cheese was on the this or that list. And they both picked blue cheese for the other person. And both of them were like, no, I prefer ranch. And they were both like, I've been ordering blue cheese all these years because I thought it's what you wanted, and I was just putting up with it. And they were like, no, I want ranch.
Wow.
So funny.
That is amazing.
I know. So silly.
And it's in a fun environment. So Sarah, obviously when you start a new business, sometimes you have to make certain adjustments. What have you done? How have you pivoted to improve Closer Together?
Yeah. So when I was first starting out, I had this whole grand plan of offering an all-inclusive ticket that had the game night and then like a beer and tapas flight pairing, because I've hosted this at a lot of breweries. So 4 little beers and 4 little tapas. And I had a friend of mine who's a chef was going to be always included in that and cooking up the best food. But I still love that. And we have done it and it has been successful. But I think being a new business, and again, like we talked about, not having the benefit of people knowing what this is, I think it was hard to get people to commit to like, you know, a $35 to $45 a person ticket. Right. And I think I was scaring people away. So within a couple of months, I was like, okay, let's reel it back in. Let's focus and be like, all right, maybe in the future we can kind of try that again. But now I'm more so moving forward with just the cost of the game night, which is generally $15. It fluxes a little higher and lower depending on the venue. But that's just the ticket. And then usually I'm at a venue that has beer and or food, usually both. Right. And then people can just choose whatever they want. Like, and if they don't want to drink, then there's not beer included. And I don't have to do the whole, okay, let me take the cost of beer out of your ticket, or, you know, whatever. Right. So that was definitely good. And I also learned you have to start marketing a lot earlier than I thought. We're talking like a month minimum. Some events didn't have a great turnout because I just started too late, you know, and it takes time for people to see things and, you know, posters and flyers and Facebook marketing and yeah, and it's got to pop up all the time because then you kind of go, okay, I have to go to that. Right. You see it and then go, oh, that sounds fun. Yeah. But then you don't do anything. And the next time you see it, oh, I did want to look into that. And then you don't do anything. And then the third time it's like, oh, right, that's coming up in 3 days. Maybe I should, what's this all about? Yeah, it takes about 7 touches, something like that. Yeah, my last event, I sold every ticket in the last 3 days and I was marketing it for 5 weeks. Wow. And I was like, oh, no one's going to come. And then all of a sudden I had 12 people and I was like, okay, well, there you go. Yeah. So today your tickets are $15 or $20, and that includes just the game. But you hold it at an establishment that has food and beverage, and they can order their own. Yes. I love it. Yay. That's great. So tell us a little bit about how many folks usually do you have on a given night when you do it in a event, like a corporate event versus like a trivia, I guess, in a right. So, well, I've only done the one corporate event so far. I think we had 30 people. Okay. When I host them to the public, this is still a new business. I just launched in January. Launched the company in January. The actual first soft launch event was in February. So we've only done like maybe 10 events so far, and all different venues around town, a lot of breweries. But the attendees could be anywhere from 4 people to 18 people. Just depends. Marketing is hard. Sure. I bet that is. And so the feedback has been good. Feedback has been amazing. Yeah. After every event, it's so sweet. People always come up to me, and first of all, they tell me they had so much fun, and then they all want to ask me questions like, how did you get into this? And how did you think of this? And it's really sweet that people are like interested in how this came to be because they think it's such a good idea and they love it. And it's funny because I've never owned a business before, you know, and I just launched this earlier this year, and I definitely had rose-colored glasses on being a first-time business owner. But I am so passionate about the idea and I believe in it so much that I was like, people are going to be lined up at the door. Like, it's going to be a breeze. No, that is not true. But that being said, the feedback has been so great, but it's just all baby steps, like trying to learn about marketing. I'm running this completely alone. And, so any little thing that can
Come
get
out of
my name
this,
out there.
for sure.
I appreciate it.
So I would deem that a challenge. So the biggest challenge, great feedback from both aspects, right?
Yeah.
But the challenge is getting the word out there, because it is such a neat concept. I mean, it's not
Right.
anything. So if you're going to start a business,
Yeah,
it's great you're doing something that's really not out there.
Right, exactly.
And it's so needed, especially
today.
especially now.
Yes, post-COVID
with
and in the digital age and all that stuff. No, that's so true. And yeah, we need it. And the marketing has just been the hardest part, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there, like I said, with all the positive feedback, and it is super needed, but it's just a matter of getting people to find out it exists. And that's what's making marketing hard too, is because it's a new idea. People don't know what it is, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to, like, in a little nutshell,
right,
tell people what it is.
Right. So do you have a list of locations where you are hosting these events? How will the public know where to find you and
Right.
how to come to one of these, evenings?
Yeah. So far, all the events have been one-offs. That being said, more are coming around. I have a website. It's closertogetherevents.com. My Facebook and Instagram is the same thing, Closer Together Events. And right now, I am in talks with Sanford Brewing, both locations. I'm in talks with Home State Brewing out in Winter Garden, and in talks with Ailstone Brewing in Longwood. So those events are in the pipeline. Those are going to be coming this year for sure, probably in the next few months. Dates are not nailed down yet, but they will certainly be up on the website once they are nailed down.
Well, and you can also find them here on Park Bench because you're able to post this information here. But we'd like to know more about you. So when you're not doing this and working your other two jobs, what do you do for relaxation? What do you do for fun? Where are your favorite hangout spots here in Longwood?
Oh, man. Okay. I'll answer the second part first. Favorite places in Longwood. Love Hourglass Brewing. They have amazing beer and a really great staff. So I always love to go there, and they have fun events too. Bay Ridge Sushi, one of my favorite Longwood restaurants. They have an amazing lunch special, and their happy hour is really good. But of course, the food is just fantastic.
Sure is.
I work at Wild Hair Natural Market as well. Right. That's in Longwood, and that's an amazing little spot, hidden gem. We have all locally raised beef, chicken, and pork, locally made cheeses, local kombucha, honey, locally made skincare products. It's really cool, just a little local hub. For fun, obviously, doing things with friends. I like to travel a lot. I'm actually traveling the next 4 weekends just to visit people in different cities and states that I'm friends with. But going to the beach, the springs, kayaking, hiking, not as much in Florida, but anytime I'm out of state with some elevation change.
She's hiking.
Yeah, and I also work at a brewery, so obviously checking out new fun bars. Zymeria Meadery is opening right now, the first ever meadery in Orlando. I can't wait to check that out. So much fun things to do in Orlando and the surrounding Longwood, Lake Mary, Sanford. There's just so much.
There sure is. So one last thing I wanted to ask you, are there any specials that you can offer if someone was to contact you or find you and say, hey, we saw this video on Park Bench. Do you have any discount or promotion that you would like to offer any of our Park Bench viewers?
Ooh, perhaps. Yeah, I could definitely come up with something, whether that be a little discount code for one of my public events coming up, or if anyone's interested in doing a corporate team building, we could get you in with a little early promo rate on that. Totally, we can get with that.
That sounds great. And going back to that question, actually, what I forgot to mention was, what are the things that you would like to move into? I know you talked about doing your first corporate event. Did you love that enough to keep doing that? Do you see value in that?
Yeah. So, so far I've done the one corporate team building, and all the other events I've done have been just for the public. And I never want to stop doing public events. I really get so much fulfillment from that. It's just so amazing to watch everybody smile and laugh through it. And I feel like I'm really doing something meaningful to see everyone having a good time and creating a fun event for that. But I do really want to get more into corporate team buildings, mostly because it is less stressful because I don't have to market. Watching ticket sales every day, like, but that's stressful. But I really would love to do more of that. It was so fun when I did it. And also, I think it would be really cool to host this for like a family reunion, or like when UCF opens back up, maybe like a sorority house, like girls' night in. Like there are definitely some unique like individual events that I'd love to try out for a group of people who know each other and wouldn't mind knowing each other a little better.
That sounds like you're in a niche here that can grow like crazy.
Oh yeah, I could take this all over the place. People have been saying that to me from the beginning. They're like, you could do this and you could do that. And I'm like, I know, my head is spinning. I'm very excited, but it's just a matter of getting there.
Well, when you're able to catch her, you'll want to sit in on one of these events. They are jam-packed of fun, and you get the benefit of getting to know the person that you come with. So check out Sarah Finn. You mentioned that they can find you at...
Yes, closertogetherevents.com. My Instagram and Facebook is the same exact thing. Instagram at Closer Together Events. Facebook, you just type in Closer Together Events. And yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for being with us
Oh my
today,
God,
Sarah.
thank you
It's been
so
so
much.
fun.
It's so
And
fun.
for any of your real estate needs, you can reach out to me directly. My name is Evelyn Alicea with eXp Realty, and you can contact me at 407-340-8154. We'll see you next time.